Karen Heller, founder and owner of Charisma LLC and certified professional resume writer. This vlog number 9, is going to explain to you why our cover letters get very impressive responses from top employers and how you can too. When I first started as a resume writer in 2006, I subcontracted for a larger resume writing company that offered resumes and cover letters to job seekers for very discounted prices. I also was talked once by a client into writing a generic cover letter for her. When following up and hearing that she had very little response to that generic cover letter, I stopped writing generic cover letters. Because if I'm going to write something for you, it's going to work. And by work, I mean sending a cover letter directly to a top executive at a very large company, a very desired company, and having them respond with interest for an interview within 2 hours. And that's what a customized cover letter will do for you. When I was a recruiter, to be honest, I really didn't read a lot of cover letters, and that's mostly because a lot of them said the same thing. Now, if somebody had copied the content of the cover letter within the email, and it happened to look a little different, then I might take the time to gander through it, and that's the same thing that you want to accomplish. I think a lot of job seekers actually think that they're customizing their cover letters, when in fact, it's a template. A template is not the same as a customized cover letter. When your letter is customized so that the recipient understands that you have done research, then 90% of that cover letter, even 95 perhaps, is going to be unique to that recipient. So there might be a few things that you can reuse from cover letter to cover letter, but for the most part, if you are copying more content than that, then it's not customized and it's not doing the optimum job of piquing the interest of the recipient. Let me show you what I mean. Here's a cover letter. Tell me, is it customized or is it templated? I think that you'll be able to tell very quickly that this is a template. So really the only things that are particular to this recipient are the job itself. I know by looking at this letter that every recipient of this letter gets pretty much the same content, and therefore I don't know if this individual has any idea of what the organization is going through or if they really truly understand how they can be a solution. And so I think that an investment in this candidate is going to be a little more, perhaps even than I have as far as time goes. Here's an example of a cover letter that's customized. You can tell that every little bit of this cover letter, except for maybe, again, the closing paragraph, is unique to this recipient. I'll show you more about that later. Here is what that cover letter looks like when you take out all the customized content. It looks less like a template and more like a Mad Lib. And this is our secret recipe for cover letters. Here is the anatomy of a cover letter. A cover letter is a formal business letter, so it uses the same formatting. At the top, usually to the left in a formal business letter, but because this is part of your resume package, it will probably match your resume, your header, your information, your name, your contact. Then all the way to the left, everything else is justified to the left, is the date with one space and then the recipient's information, their name, their title, the organization, their address. Be as specific as possible if they have a certain room number. Then another space, and then the greeting, which is really just most appropriate to be dear or something conservative. And you use a colon, not a comma. Then one more space. And the paragraph. The paragraphs are not indented. There's one space in between the paragraphs. And then there's another space in between the last paragraph and your sign-off. And you would maybe want to put something that is unique to you. This is where you might get more creative. You could say with regards and be conservative. But sometimes it is the greeting, something you say that's unique, that can stick with somebody and be the clincher in whether they give you a call or not. But whatever you do, if it's not generic, if it's not cheesy, just be sincere. Keep the recipient in mind and what they might want you to put. And then at the very end, after you have a little bit of space for your signature, you want to make sure that you include enclosure. And enclosure colon, whatever the names of the attachments are, is really best so that the person, if they were to lose the attachments, can go back and find the files maybe that they saved on their computer. The easier you make it for them, the better. The first paragraph is the most important paragraph, and the first line of the first paragraph is really critical because that's where you want to suck them in. It's your best opportunity to get them interested in reading on. Things you want to include in the first paragraph are the source, wherever the job was posted, if there was in fact a job posted, or if there's somebody that recommended you for that job or recommended that you apply for that job. As long as you have their permission, name their name. Please be very sensitive to anybody who wants to be completely anonymous, especially if you met with them at a networking opportunity and they shared anything that was private information. Besides including in the first paragraph your source, be that a person or a job board, or even if you came across the name of their company as a result of their PR efforts, which would be something they might be interested in knowing, you want to have three main components of the first paragraph. Things you want to get across are what is interesting you in this company, what is motivating you to want to pursue something with that organization. Here's where you can do a little bit of ego stroking, if not for that particular recipient, for the organization itself. A motivated employee is somebody who's productive, so why wouldn't they want to talk to somebody who could be a productive employee? You want to demonstrate your understanding of their challenges or their initiatives. You want to get across that you have done some research on the organization, and so that makes you a better qualified person coming in the door to understand how you can be a solution to the problems. And then thirdly, introduce the sum of your experience that makes you feel like this could really be a match. Like there's something there based on your background, your education, your experience, even something that's developed in your personal life that is compelling enough to make you want to say, we should really talk further about the possibilities here. The second paragraph is where you get more specific about your experience and build upon the theme of your experience that you introduced in the first paragraph. You'll have 2 or 3 sentences. They're going to identify realms that you have experience in that is directly relevant to what the organization needs based on your research. And then you'll have bullets, and these bullets will provide details, supplemental details that are not available in your resume, so that they're enticed to take a look at the resume to find out more about you. Now you could also potentially have a T table here, where if there's a job posting, you can take requirements or details from that job posting and put them on the left column, and then put your experience that's directly related and relevant to those specific requirements on the right side of the column. Here we just have bullets, and you can keep a list of 10 to 12 bullets, but you don't want to put all of them in each customized resume, but you can keep a library, so to speak, of bullets that you can pull from so that you can rotate them, further edit them, further customize them. That will make customizing each of these cover letters a little bit easier. You want to come across as uniquely valuable, not superior. Assume that people who are pursuing these jobs are just as qualified as you, but just that you offer something unique to them, and you do want to be bold, but you don't want to come across as boastful. Paragraph 3 is where you wrap it up, and you tie it up with a little bow, and you just say, this is what I think the future could look like if we were to meet and find synergy, or if you were to engage me. And you're very brief, and you're really just asking for a short meeting. If there is a job opening and you're sending your cover letter specific to a job opening, it is okay to ask for an interview. But I would say you could probably do better assuming that whether they want to hire you for that job or not, that there's a networking opportunity there, that you will have an opportunity to understand how you can help each other be successful, whether it looks like you getting hired for a job or not, and then take accountability for follow-up. It's even okay just to say, I want to make sure that you got this communication, so I'm going to follow up next week and see that you got it. If you prefer not to receive calls, then just confirm for me that you received it, and I will await your communication. If you say you're going to follow up next week, be your word, follow up next week. So now that you have the secret sauce to our successful cover letters, you may have some additional questions, like where do I go to research these organizations? What are the best resources, especially if they're not a publicly traded company? Or how do I find out who the most logical hiring manager is? How do I verify the recipient? How do I find their email addresses? Answers to questions just like this are in our webinar that's available on our website, Insider Edge to Social Media, 3 Success Secrets to Getting Hired. Find out more about the webinar and the answers within. And in the meantime, unveil your brilliance.